How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I haven't seen you since we worked in London.
Yeah, it's been, how long has it been? A while. Uh,
Maybe 2 years?
it seems like that, but it was in 2019, somewhere 2019.
Okay. I hurt my knee on the way to that session, and it still
Yes,
hasn't
you
gotten any
fell.
better. I fell.
Yeah,
That was a
you
weird
fell.
day.
You fell and tore your jeans
I know. I tore my jeans, and it's still like a
and
bit
cut
sore.
your leg. We were like, oh my Lord, are we gonna have to call an ambulance or did she get hurt? But you played it off though.
And I ended up in some random bar with all these strangers and started babysitting this baby that I didn't know. I was like, so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How are you? Like, how's everything with COVID, with
Uh,
BLM?
it's crazy. It's crazy. I think. Let me close this window. It's crazy, especially being in this volatile industry. But you reposition, you figure it out, and you try to make the best of it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, well, I don't know where do you want to start? Like, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, it's
If
your
you
lead.
if you yeah. You want me to read the text you sent me?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So everyone, I just, Dalton and I were chatting, and I was like, can you just send me a text on like just your general feelings about everything, whatever's in your heart? And I'm just going to read what he wrote. It says, we are either judging each other and killing each other because someone is exercise hate, but we are so primitive when we stand in our faith
Internet.
pride.
Your
Internet back?
your internet's going out. I don't know if it's me or you, but your internet's going out. Start again, because I don't want anyone to
Okay.
miss anything. Yeah.
I'm going to go in a different room.
Okay. Nice artwork, by the way.
Oh, this is my friend Kelly's house, not my house.
Mm.
Um, but yes, it's a beautiful house. I will reposition myself here.
Sweet.
Sorry, won't be the best angle, but is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, I'm gonna start over reading this because words are important. So, we are either judging each other and killing each other because someone is gay or black, and it's death by words and treatment. We are so creative in how we exercise hate, but we are so primitive when we stand in our fake pride that makes us even begin to think as though we are something better and something better than the next human being. I'm about sick of it. I lost any prospects of a career in my country because of supporting the right to love and speak your truth, whether it was child abuse or just bullying through anticipatory socialism. I have never felt more worthless till recently. Oh,
Yeah.
I met so many horrible people in the industry as well that just dealt with me like I was the thing of the day or month to get through with minimum effort of value.
Yeah.
Now that's a lot.
Yeah.
And also, like, I just want to say, like, thank you for being so brave to even talk about this because most people are not and they need to.
Yeah. I think at this point, and it's not even at this point, like I've been very self-aware for a long time. And I'm disappointed that I never had the strength earlier to kind of stand up for those that feel the same, whatever it is that your affliction is. Um, and given what's happening now, what do I have to lose? Like, I have nothing to lose, but respect for myself. And if I stay quiet, then I lose that respect for myself. Um, I'm about sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, what's your experience like with Jamaica?
My experience with Jamaica and as a Jamaican is two different things, and it's kind of like a tightrope. I have a lot of supporters there, and they're amazing. But I also know that on the backhand of that, I'm chastised widely by a large group of people because of the perception that I'm gay. Whether I was gay or weren't gay, why the fuck would it matter that you thought I deserved to die? Or the fact that I've worked so hard to create history, not only in the UK, but for my country, and to kind of be so shunned. Like, I remember when I went back home, I was hidden in the back of the airport, you know?
Wow.
Nobody came to greet me, but they did for other people that want American things, and they also greeted a person that was convicted for drugs. Um, this is my government, and so I felt horrible. And then, I got death threats and pictures of people's necks being cut off, or somebody getting videos of people getting shot in the head, and people saying that's what I deserved. I headlined a festival there. I was supposed to perform at a festival there, which I did. But when it was announced that I was going to be on the roster, it was a wide public issue, where I didn't deserve it because I'm not an artist and I'm gay and he's like a fish and a fag and all these things. And it was shocking in the sense that I understand human acceptance, but I was like, why does somebody have the idea that somebody should be subject to these kind of things? And like, it happened even in the X Factor. And that's when I made the decision to stand for love, and I made sure that in my campaign and in my career and in everything that I did, I made sure to be inclusive of every single person, whatever it is. Going out, Autumn, I was never going to use my platform to alienate any group or sect of people. And that's a problem for a lot of people. So the industry there kind of keeps me at bay, and there's lots of people that might support me, but they don't do it publicly because they don't want to answer to the people that hate me because of the perception that I'm gay, and also the fact that I the child, and making sure and saying, hey, the way Jamaicans parent isn't always the best. And I've been a victim of that, and it's bullshit, and I'll stand by that 100%. So me standing for the right thing kind of fucked my prospects of any career in Jamaica, because I'll never get booked for a show in Jamaica because I'm too gay or too this or too that, because I'm not the quintessential black Jamaican guy, which to me is kind of messed up, because here we are in the midst of Black Lives Matter, and I'm subject to a lot of things and a lot of issues because of the color of my skin as well, but I'm also subject to hate from people that look like me. So it makes me question so many things, and it just makes no sense, and it never will. But I think that's what I need to use my platform for, and then we're not even good. I haven't even gotten into my experience so far with some industry people, not everybody. So this is a
Wow.
disclaimer for people, because a lot of people are ignorant. So disclaimer, me saying there's an issue with something doesn't mean, so if I say somebody was racist, it doesn't mean all white people are racist. It doesn't mean all people in the industry are messed up and only money grabbing people. It doesn't mean that all Jamaicans are homophobic, ignorant people. But it means that people everywhere have issues that they need to educate themselves on not having, you know?
Yeah.
Because you could lead somebody to kill themselves, and you might not care, but imagine if your family member ever happened to be any one of those things that you would judge
Yeah.
somebody for. Imagine if your sister or a friend of yours or you were on the receipt, how would you feel? Apathy and
Yeah.
empathy are very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Apathy is very dangerous right now. Empathy, has been proven
Your
one of the
internet,
biggest things you
Autumn,
can.
your internet.
Is it? Gosh, why? Okay, I'm gonna go downstairs. Sorry. I don't know why. It was working perfectly.
I don't know why I'm still surprised. My heart
I'll go in. I'm just wandering in rooms at my friend's house. I'll go in
Okay.
here. Is this better? Is this better?
I think, yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay. I have full bars here, which is so odd that it's filling out. Is that good?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. As long as I'm hearing you and seeing you. Sometimes you get the spinning wheel.
So annoying.
Mm.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying apathy, you know, and empathy are really like the keys to fixing most of the world's problems right
Yeah.
now. And it's a shame that like, you know, I feel like in a lot of Black cultures, African American, Caribbean cultures, you know, there is a lot of negative feelings about bisexuality, about being gay,
Mm.
especially if you're a male.
Yeah, and religion and toxic masculinity and women having to act and be a certain way. Like it's a bunch of shit. And what people don't understand, like a lot of people are tweeting and saying the Black Lives Matter things and talking about this, but do you really know the history of the very oppression that you dish out? Because bear in
Yeah.
mind, you are taught to hate yourself and you're hating somebody that looks just like you, thinking you're winning and you're not. Because nobody wins when the family feuds. And what I mean is, if you treat me like I don't belong because of who you think I might be or who I am, you're not winning,
Mm-hmm.
brother or sister. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? How I treat you, Autumn, reflects how I am. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'd love to see or live. I'd love to experience and live to see the day where that would be. But at this rate, I know that's just a hope. You know, it's like a very slim hope.
We have so many hurdles to overcome, but honestly, like even just little talks like this do go really far.
Yeah,
They really do. Like even the one I did with Jocelyn, like it's, you know, it was shared a lot among a lot of white women, and it taught them to like look at themselves and have conversations they weren't having.
yeah,
And that's kind of where we need to do. And also in the Black community, Caribbean community, like we need to have these conversations. I was on Facebook the other day, and a guy was just, you know, going on about he didn't like some new cartoon because it had like two guys kissing, and he was like, oh, it's gonna turn my son gay.
mm,
And I just ended up unfriending him because
right,
some people I will get into discussions with, but some people it's just not gonna go anywhere.
right, right.
You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking like, okay, let's just say your son does become gay
Mm,
or doesn't become gay. Either way, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
But like, you're not even giving him the freedom to be
yeah.
himself.
You know, I think I grew up where I'm guilty of like as a child, like being 10, 11, a young teenager, saying words that are offensive. But because I was in a culture that I thought that was normal, you know, like even to Bossa Blanc for a song that was highly offensive, whether it was to women or somebody what was gay, you know, like I grew up in a culture that you know it procures this kind of behavior. And when I was maybe like 15, I was like, hold up, do I have an issue with this? No. And what if I'm 25, 26 December, and if at 45 I decided to change my lifestyle and be something else, or I had a child that was gay, or a daughter that liked girls, or my partner's white, have kids that have kids, when we have kids that are mixed, how does it make sense? Like I work with so many people from so many different backgrounds. Like the world is built on people from all kinds of places and corners of the world. Why is it important for me to let you know how much I hate you because of who you are, when who you are doesn't affect the quality of life that somebody else lives, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There are
Mm-hmm.
people that speak about killing people in music. There are people that speak about women being nothing but slaves. There are people that speak about how much money they have and how they'll use it to do dumb stuff. Like find something to quarrel and make a fuss about that makes sense for a greater good. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
it's all bullshit to me. And working on cruise ships and traveling the world and leaving Jamaica and living in America for a while taught me a lot. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it taught me, especially cruise ships, because you meet every kind of person on there. And I was subject to racism the entire 3 years, but I always had a smile on my face because I was like, this is so cool. I get to meet people. There's this asshole that's racist to me, but he's dumb. But we'll get to that. But look at these cool people, you know? And I
Mm-hmm.
just thought he was defective because if I didn't have an issue with somebody that looked different from me or lived different from me, if you don't harm somebody, hurt somebody, deteriorate somebody's perception of themselves, I love you. You know, like, so when I feel insecure every day of my life because I'm black, just period. And I don't just say that because Black Lives Matter now and it's a popular thing. This has been, you know, what I've been about because I've been subject to it. You know, I lived in America where my sister would be afraid for me because she knew that as an immigrant, if I was stopped by the cops, and I'm smart, so, and I know my rights and I stand up for what I believe in, whether I'm popular or somebody's looking or not. So if a cop were to stop me and try to intimidate me, I'm going to tell you, you know, you're stupid. Or,
can't do that here.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always stand up for myself, and I always say, if I was born in the era of slavery, I'd be the first one they killed, you know, period, you know. And she was always afraid for me. And then I realized that I had to learn to be afraid for myself because I was smiling thinking I'm just a human being, but I realized through other people's actions that I was black. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So when I'm going home and I'm driving my sister's car in Miami, the cops pull me over because I opened the gate with the fob. And they just thought, why not pull him over? And they pulled me over. I was like, hey, what's up? You know, they asked me for my papers. I always had my ID because I'm an immigrant. I don't want to, you know, I don't want them to think I'm there illegally or anything. And then the guy asked me, how do I live here and who do I know? And I said, my sister lives here. Asked me my sister's name and door number. I gave it to him. And, you know, still they're saying, step out the car. Do you have weapons? I'm like, search, you know, whatever it is. And if I didn't have a key that opened my sister's front door that night, I would have had a different story to tell because they were ready to draw their weapons because they didn't believe that I actually knew somebody there. But in my head, I'm thinking, who the hell drives up to somebody's place, enters the entrance, and drives in to a place that they're not from? You know? So if that key, and I'm trembling, but I have to, you know, keep my composure. If that key didn't work that night, I don't know what would have happened to me. And the fact that I don't know what would have happened to me is a problem. And so when I speak about these things and I see people comment, all lives matter, we fucking know. All lives matter. The fact that I have to say Black Lives Matter proves to me how much you don't know that all lives matter. Because when I see high-speed chases of, you know, white people being able to even drive off and be on the highway running away from cops, I don't get that privilege. The minute I resist, I'm shot, whether I'm armed or not. So I don't get to be like, guess what, Mom? Whether I was innocent or not, I was running from the cops. No, I don't get to do that. You know, I don't get to do that. I don't get to speak a certain way. I don't get to complain. Even in this industry, I've been treated like shit by people that I had around me that were supposed to take care of me and make me feel empowered. I was told to quit. I was told that I would never make it in the industry. I was told that I should just go be a songwriter. I was told I was unhelpable. I had crippling depression and anxiety just because of how my year was going. Not my record label, by the way. You know, I just want to say that because a lot of people will run with stuff and I don't want to be defaming anyone. But I had people around me, a specific person, you know, that made me feel like shit. And that was crippling for me because I went in every session and I sung my ass off. And I was working harder than anyone. I was turning in demos that were so good. And I made sure that vocally nobody could say I'm less than anyone out there now that's more popular or wide or whatever it is. I made sure that I was always the one that's going in and giving 110%. There was never anything that anyone could ever say that I did that was less than. I was giving 110 plus 200% every time. But yet still, I was subject to this. So I wanted to quit. You know, in December, I released my first single and I worked so hard for it. And by the time I released my single, I have probably 60 demos on my computer. And I was asking questions because I'm a go-getter. You know what I'm saying? I'm Jamaican. I grew up in the country and I managed to get myself out of there by myself. Nobody gave me a sponsor to any place. You know, I
Right.
researched and got my visas and worked hard, saved, and came here and won X Factor. I am a hard worker. So
Mm.
if you're gonna come around me, I'm gonna ask you, what are you gonna do for me? It's not just about
Mm.
people coming and taking percentages of whatever it is or blah blah blah. I need to know what it is that you're doing for me that I can help. And when I started asking questions, it became a problem. So the mental
Mm.
health that was inflicted on me because of my experience became the very weapon that was used against me. And here I am
Wow.
feeling so fucked up, like so horrible. Like I see people comment, "What's happening to your music?" And I blame myself because I thought it was
Mm.
me. You know, people would. I felt so guilty, and when I was asking questions, you know, the minute there was nothing there to get, I was left alone. You know, and feeling like I should quit. And it begs me to wonder, if I worked harder than everybody in the room, if you have no possible thing to say why I didn't do something, all my demos, they are really good. All the songs that I wrote, co-wrote, demoed, whatever it is, amazing. You know, vocally, quality wise, whatever it is. So I couldn't beg but wonder what's the nature, because of everybody around. I was the only black one. I was the
Mm.
only one that you knew that my history and my past is from poverty and that I came from this place. And it ended up being something I felt was used against me. And
Mm.
to make me feel afraid, I was giving this idea that, you know, if it wasn't without a specific person or people, that I could never make it.
Wow.
And since then, every single day that I get up, sometimes I'll text Tyler from the label just to say, hey, what's up, you know, or have a conversation and stuff, because I am dying because of what somebody made me go through. And this is
Wow.
somebody that's never sung a fucking note in their lives, don't even make music, but you think you can make somebody that makes music and put one of the people that puts food and money in your pocket feel like shit.
Wow.
How dare you? So it makes me wonder, what is it about me? Because I sing circles around most of people's favorites, and I'm sorry if you're coming across arrogant, but I have to value myself because I realize that's not going to be gifted to me. And
Mm.
talent probably doesn't matter. It probably don't matter. But at the end of the day, I did everything and then some that I was supposed to do. And I know it.
Mm.
If I'd be dropped by my label if I was doing some crazy stuff, I'm sure. You know, so what did I do? What did I
Mm.
do? What didn't I do? And there was no answer. I remember one time I was asking, I was like, hey, you know, I want to go into such and such and sessions like that. And I had somebody that was at the time working on my team that had no idea of how my sessions even were set up. You know this. And then they
Wow.
gaslighted me for 3 hours on the phone. I hung up thinking, die. Because this person
What?
made me feel like I was crazy, you
Mm.
know? And because people have such control of you when when you have a record deal, everybody comes in and you know you're told what to do and what not to do, what gigs to take, what not to take, and all these things, and you end up losing time and money that nobody will give you back. They'll only fuck you off and go on to the next person. So I couldn't help but
Mm.
ask myself, what did I do? What
Mm.
didn't I do?
Wow. I mean, look, I've been in this business for over 20 years, you know, writing for over 10 years for artists like and with artists like yourself. It's a very difficult business. And, you know, I coached the X Factor for 1 year. I coached America's Got Talent for 5 years. I've worked on maybe at least 5 reality shows. It's a very, very difficult business, and it's
Mm,
a very difficult transition
yeah.
coming from winning
Mm,
to making an album.
yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people know how difficult that transition
Mm.
is and how much nurturing an artist needs.
Yeah, you need a lot of nurturing.
It's a lot of nurturing. It's a lot of. I also don't think a lot of people, and I don't know the A&R or person you're talking about. I don't
No,
know who
no,
that
it's not
is.
an A&R person. When it comes to, I have nothing. I could never say anything that when it comes to my label, I'm grateful for what
Yeah.
I have right now. To be honest, like everything is a working progress. Like if you ask me, do I think certain things could be better? I'm always gonna say yes, even if they're better. You know, I'm always gonna
Right.
expect better for myself. But I'm grateful for being able to have a conversation now with my label
Mm.
because that's something I never thought I was allowed to do because everybody does something for you,
Wow.
you know? Um,
Right.
but it's hard, you know. When I did the X Factor, it was an amazing experience. The X Factor, like, you know, the producers were really good to me. But I went on tour, and then there was assholes on tour, and I had a makeup artist at the time that could have lost her job because she decided to stand up to some sexist, racist security guards. And I remember telling management at the time, I don't want to come back. You know,
Wow.
I'd rather stay in the tour bus outside the whole day until I have to perform, and I'll go perform and I'll leave. I don't want to go because they'd close the door when I was coming. You know, they'd standing my way. They'd close the bus door, standing the bus door when I was coming. You know, stuff like that, passive aggressive things. And it was bad because I thought I won the show. Like, I should feel happy about it, but I didn't. And I didn't know
Mm.
why. So every time when I went on stage, I was so insecure because I thought the people in the audience were going to judge me, just like this person who's making money because of artists that went and entered a talent show to have people come to want to see them and buy tickets, you know? And I just couldn't get
Mm.
it. And that really messed with me. And like, I wasn't the most confident person either at the time.
Mm.
So it kind of sinks you. And then I went into, and I was doing the tour and recording. So I'd go tour, and on the weekends I'd have to come back to London, fly back to London to record. And it was hard, you know, because I was like, I hate myself, you know, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I
Mm.
probably just shouldn't be here. And I kept thinking, so when people would be like, oh, you know, he won and this is all cool and whatever, I just kept thinking, that's bullshit. Because these people are making me feel like this.
Mm. Wow.
You know?
So you have, like, what at that point it's like, so what are you doing it for? What's enjoyable about it
Yeah. It's,
when it gets that hard?
you know, yeah. It got to a point where I just was like, yo, it's been 7 years. I worked my ass off. You know, I'm here. So I'm going to enjoy this because I deserve it. I kept telling
Mm.
myself that, you know, and when I went into recording and after tour, it was like a hard year for me. You know, I enjoyed my sessions and I was excited, but, you know, it was hard because whether it was my single being pushed back or a date being changed or, you know, just somebody told me one time, hey, take 5 grand and go on vacation somewhere and whatever. It'd be fine. We can always get more money. And I said to this person, money doesn't come out of thin air. And when that realization was made a few months later, this person turned around and was like, well, you know, there's no money and where'd the money and da 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 da. This person acted dumbfounded as though they didn't understand how toxic they were, you know,
Mm.
and tried to get me to. I think that night on the phone when I had that conversation with this person, that's not from the label, they were trying to
Mm.
get me to end it because that's the only way to explain the level of gaslighting that I was subject to.
To end what?
My life,
Wow.
you know, and I think the label saw and knew how bad I was and how horrible I was doing that they made the decision to send me to um, retreat, to rehab, so I could deal with my depression and be okay for 2 weeks in Phoenix, you know? And it was hard. It was really hard because here was somebody that was telling me I'm unhelpable and I won't make it and I shouldn't be in the industry, you know?
Wow. I'm so sorry you went through this. Like, I
And
just
on
can't
top of
even.
that, I'm
Is this
pissed.
person still working?
You know, yeah, and on top of that, I'm pissed because I'm like, okay, this person's putting me through hell, and I feel like there's a large group of people in Jamaica that's just waiting and watching for me to fail, because they want, you know, in their eyes, they want this gay dude to not make it, so they could show you how. So it'd be such a good thing for a lot of people to celebrate my failure, and it was
Mm.
heartbreaking because I worked harder than anybody I came across since then.
Wow. Well, I will say this. I'm sure there are people that want you to fail. but there are a lot of people that want you to win.
Yeah, especially
There are
here
a lot
too.
of people.
And also I know now that, and I notice, and this is like strength to me, I know that when I speak to like my exec from the label, I am happy that it's not abusive language. I'm happy that it's not, when I speak to them, I don't feel like crap after the phone conversation ends, you know.
Yeah.
But it still is an issue, and I think there was a girl here called Mishabi that went public the other day and spoke about she spoke about her experience in the X Factor, her year, and she entered like 7 or 8 years before I did, and I was a huge fan of her before I even came here. And so when I heard her story, I didn't think to say it's true or it's false. I just thought, I love you and I support you because I identify, and I can identify trauma when I see it, because I felt it and I know how I looked and how I felt. So I sent love. And immediately so many people were like, such and such is not racist because you won and you're a black person. And I'm like, how about trying to not discredit someone's experience and just understand that they're hurt and people don't go to therapy if they're fine? Do you understand
Yeah.
that? My experience on the
Yeah.
X Factor with the producers was cool, good. Like I had no issues with any producer. They respect me even to this day. When I go back, I respect them. They respect me. Never had an issue with being on the X Factor show, but she did. And empathy and apathy.
Right.
It's emotional intelligence, you know? So when you come tell me about, well, all lives matter. Yeah, sure. I know that. How about when you talk about some crap, I just come and say, well, such and such and such. You know, like for once, it's not about you. And this is not about attention. This is about speaking up. Because if I get a career that makes me billions of dollars next year, and I know that somebody went through the same thing and was treated like shit, especially if they looked like me, how can I feel comfortable? How? I can't.
No, you can't. I mean, I've worked with Psycho, many times, and I love Tyler and a lot of people over there. I personally haven't seen, or experienced what Misha B has gone through, but like, absolutely, like, you cannot discredit her
Yeah.
opinion.
You don't have to say anything. Just send her love.
Because what she went through is what she went through, and who's to say that's not real?
Yeah.
Like, everyone has their own experience, and that is a big deal. Like, too many people are who are saying all lives matter. It's just they're discrediting that everyone has a different experience than them, and it's just so sad. It's just so sad to see the selfishness and just people not opening their eyes. I wish for like, if I had a magic wand, everyone could just wear everyone's shoes for one day.
Actually, I'd make them do it for a week, because you know why? If you gave them a day and they knew that, they'd be like, fuck it. It's just a day. You know what I'm saying? And people are evil to themselves too. So I'd give you a week. I'd say take a week so you could really sit in there.
Yeah, and a lot of people won't make it.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
A lot of people wouldn't make it. I mean, they've done social experiments where, Jane Elliott, she gives white people like what it feels like to be black for just an hour.
Yeah.
And they've cried and broke down, and the blue eye, brown eye experiment. And
it's not a good feeling.
It's not a good feeling. And she asked, raise your hand if you want to be black right now. Nobody raised their hand. Nobody. What are your next plans, like musically, and like where are you at emotionally and with everything?
Emotionally, I'm at a place where I understand my value way more than I did before, so I will never compromise that ever again. I move on my own time now. I won't answer a call or tell anyone what they need to hear, when they need to hear it. My only thing is I want to create music and be a musician, and that's what I'm going to focus on, because that's what feeds my soul. And I won't let anyone come in and prostitute what I've worked hard for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to work harder than I did last year and the year before. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
want to do so many incredible things with my label. I want to be collaborative. I want to be way more hands-on. I no longer will allow anyone to feed me what they want me to believe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I won't be afraid of anyone either, you know, and I'm sure they have people on here that are watching that's gonna be telling him, you know, Dalton was on such and such saying this and this, but I don't give a fuck because I don't. Because at the end of the day, why should I edit myself and my feelings and live my life in a way that makes you happy when you don't give a fuck about me to begin with? You
That's
don't,
how I feel.
and it's the truth. Not one person called me during this entire lockdown and asked me if I was okay. Not one.
What?
Outside of the label, not one person called me and said, "Are you okay?" I moved on my own, changed houses, struggling. You know, they know what they took from me, mentally and otherwise, and nobody called to say, "Are you okay?" It's been
Wow.
February, March, April, January, March, April, May, June. But my lawyer could
Wow.
text me something about something, you know, from said entity, you know, and I think that is disappointing. And I've been so afraid for so long to do or say anything, but I'm not anymore. Because my talent is my talent. I shouldn't have to downplay myself and my value to be able to use it.
Mm,
And if this means that I
mm.
have no career or I won't get or I won't get certain things, then so be it. Because I walk away knowing that it wasn't because of my ability and my work ethic. It was because of somebody else's ignorance and selfishness and cruelty.
Mm. Well, I definitely think you do have a career and you will have a career. I just want to say my personal opinion. And music speaks. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Music speaks through all the bullshit. And
yeah,
music overcomes all and it's universal and you have an incredible
thank
voice.
you,
One
Autumn.
of the best voices. Honestly, like I when my management told me about you, I was like, oh, I don't know, like
You
another
remember? I remember
winner.
you told me this.
Yeah, I was
She
like,
said
I
this,
don't
by
think
the way,
so.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, I don't
yeah.
know, like another winner
Been
thing.
down this
And
road
then
before.
they showed me who you were, and I was like, oh wow, like they were like, no, this is different. Like he's exciting. I was like, okay, cool, and I was like, yeah, he can really, really sing.
Mm,
This is, and people were really excited about you.
yeah. My I
Really
have
excited.
I'm not gonna lie, I have an A&R at the label that's more excited about me than I've been about myself for a long time. Because I allowed,
Yeah.
you know, people to make me that was supposed to take care of me, make me feel bad about myself or made me have to defend myself or feel so I'd walk into the label sometimes and be so afraid because of what I was
Mm.
led to believe or like just what I thought was the reality when in reality it wasn't reality, you know? Um, and my mental health was also something that was used against me, you know? I was told I wasn't well and that I was unhelpable and I wasn't fit for this industry.
This is like emotionally
Yeah,
abusive.
repeatedly. And told I asked too many questions and I want too many answers, and that's not how the industry works. If I should talk to such and such artists, I'd realize that the industry doesn't work that way. And I was like, that's bullshit. I need to know what the plan is so I know how to apply myself. Come on, you know. So it's not cool. And again, it begs me to think and wonder and ask myself, what is the common denominator? It's not because I'm a
Mm.
hard worker. It's not because I sing incredibly well. It's not because I worked my ass off and self-made myself and got a record deal on my own and won the biggest show in the UK. It's not because of
Mm-hmm.
those things. So what is it?
Mm.
That would be my question. What is it that made you make me feel like I was less than
Mm.
when you were supposed to do the opposite? You know?
Is this person still working with artists?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I
terrifying.
mean, people like these are always going to be around. And also at the end of the day, I try to understand where did I go wrong. I ask myself that question too. I'm like, maybe I should have communicated better. Maybe I should have not said this, even though it's right to say, but you have to be politically correct. I was like blaming myself first, and I spent all this time from February thinking about that. You know,
Wow.
all this time. And I still don't know. I still don't know because I'm open to understanding. I'm still open with all that. I'm still open to leveling, having a conversation
Mm.
because I want to know. Because the only thing that matters is that the only thing I think is the only thing that makes me feel like I'm not from this country, okay? I may look different, but I just don't understand why.
Mm. What I think is so amazing is that despite everything you've been through, you still have so much like openness in your heart
Yeah.
and room. You still have room for these
hmm
people.
I wrote a
Like,
song. I wrote a song the other day, and I said, "I got holes in my heart, but I still keep it open, giving all
mm,
of my soul, even though I'm so broken." And that's how I know
mm,
that love can change me. Got a long way to go to be good, but still maybe I'll run, maybe I'll hide. I pray to God I get it right this time. Just hold my hand. Is this what it feels
wow.
like? Hold my hand. Promise me this is what it's like. Don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still open to everything. Like, I'm not angry anymore at anyone, but I know that I respect myself now. You know,
Mm,
I'm not afraid of stepping on anyone's toes
mm-hmm.
because people will leave you by yourself to die and don't care as long as they get what they want. And I lived this entire coronavirus lockdown. I'm here by myself. If you gave a fuck, you'd send me a text and say, hey,
Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna reach out to you more
no,
myself.
thank you.
I, I've been alone as well for like 3 months. So I completely understand how you feel, but it really sucks that no one's been reaching out to you. I think a lot of people who haven't come from an oppressed situation might be wondering like, well, why are you speaking out now, and why this and why
Mm,
that? But I think a lot of people don't understand, like, for whatever reason, it just feels like right now we finally have a chance to say everything we've been holding
yeah,
back, and it's okay, and there's nothing to lose anymore because everything's out in the
yeah,
open, and this is the time to just say it. Like, what is anyone gonna say to you? Like, you're right.
yeah. I mean, people will
You're right
find a way.
what you
Trust
feel.
me. People put more effort into showing hate than they do just being normal and expressing love.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when I just won the X Factor, there was a newspaper here that wrote an article that said I was deported, and I knew that was microaggression at its best because this I sat down with this person and it was a recorded interview. It's one of those ones where they record you on the thing, so obviously you can't forget and say, "Oh, I thought this is what." Why would you put a headline that said I was deported? Because you took money out of my pocket. If somebody wanted to book me for an event, they read your bullshit and thought this person is deported, you know. And I dealt with that my entire time in the competition, whether it was contestants that questioned my legality of being in the UK, or it
Mm-hmm.
was this publication that was like he was deported, or it was people back home that saying, oh yeah, he's gay, so he applied for what do they call that? Asylum. And or people that said, oh, he's speaking English like he's from a certain place. I was like, come on, man. Or he deserves to die and because he's this and that. Or I spoke about abuse, child abuse, and you're ungrateful because your mom is your mom. Whatever she did is okay, and da 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 da. My mom and I are great now, and she understands. But it's just how toxic people can be, and they don't understand. But I'm grateful that people are being forced to realize that they're either in the wrong or that they need to understand this is what people go through, or that you need to understand, and I said this, you can't expect what you cannot give. So I'm a black man. I'm as black as you'll ever be. I'm Jamaican, born and bred, like very black. I'm not mixed with anything, you know. I'm a black man. So I can say this. You cannot expect what you can't give. Because there are people that, whether they're trans or whether they're gay or whether they're black or whether they're wearing a hoodie or whether they have headphones on or whether they made some person feel intimidated, that lose their lives every single day to ignorance. And here we are, saying Black Lives Matter and people saying all lives matter. If you don't respect and value human life at its core, then I don't want to hear anything that's coming out of your mouth.
Same.
Nothing.
Same.
Because people do things for, they think like it's attention or like it thinks it gets them notoriety or respect. It doesn't. None of us think something like coronavirus would happen where we'd all be so dependent on each other, do we? You know? You think Corona's gonna be like, you're white, I won't fuck with you. You're straight, I won't fuck with you. You're from this country, I won't trouble you because you're rich. So it's okay. Nah, death is death. And I think that's where my fearlessness happened when I stepped out on that stage back home in summer of last year. And I was gonna quit the show as well. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do the show, because I don't want them to bother me or whatever. But I realized I have so many supporters, and not only that, even if I didn't, I worked so hard to be there. And if you hit me with a body, you're gonna stand there for a concert you paid to come in to see me and listen. And if you decided to walk out, it was maybe 300 meters to the closest exit. So how important am I that I made you walk 300 meters, man? So that was strength to me. That was strength to me. But there's a lot of things that I want to improve for myself. There's a lot of things that I try to educate people with my social platform. That's what I use every single time. There's a greater good. And I learned something over the past year. I learned that people are more comfortable when you're not very comfortable with yourself. Knowing exactly who you are and standing in your truth makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
It does.
Yeah, because people go, you're full of yourself now, or you're da-da-da. People love to see you suffering because they love to feel like they're better, or they love to feel like they're stronger. But are you really? Because the strongest people I've met have always lifted me up and lifted other people up. I grew up with women, strong women, very strong women. My sisters are strong women. My mom is a strong woman. And very early on, I knew that you don't put your hands on women. You don't refer to women as certain things. You don't speak about women a certain way. And the irony of it is that I'm from a place that claims to be so, heterosexual, but still have no idea of how to treat the women that are from there.
Wow.
So how is that possible? How is that possible when people glorify a person that kills somebody or a person that's a don? So you're gonna tell me that you're gonna get up out of your bed at 3 or 4 in the morning to go kill somebody for a next man, but you're saying you're gonna hate somebody because a woman liked a woman, or a guy liked a guy, or somebody was white or somebody was black, or how? I don't see it any different. I don't see racism any different from sexism. I don't see sexism and racism any different from homophobia. I don't see homophobia, sexism, racism any different from ethnocentricity, bigotry. None of it. Period. And having an opinion isn't something that is encouraged when you're an artist, because when you're an artist, people want you to have a voice, but only if it's a controlled one. So how am I an artist if I cannot inspire people to be better? Like, if you have a genuine fear for your life and feel like something is going to put you at risk of being hurt or dying or being something other than great, then I don't want to do that to you. But on
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, I'm not going to facilitate that either, because I know that with my platform, it's bigger than me. It's
Mm.
really bigger than me. And I
Yes.
was having a conversation last night and I said, my life, the life that I live, is supposed to be instructions. Where would we be now if the person that realized how the law of gravity worked to build buildings didn't leave instructions?
Mm-hmm.
If the person that invented the internet didn't leave instructions? The laws of
Mm.
physics didn't leave instructions. How
Mm.
a smartphone works, if a person didn't have an hypothesis and leave instructions. The clothes
Mm-hmm.
that we like, the money that we like, the economy that we love to say we're great at, because everybody likes a sport car and to say they're the shit. What if all the people that invented all the things that make you feel like you're better than somebody else didn't leave instructions?
Mm. Powerful, man.
So it also begs me to question, what is the instruction of the history of me?
Mm.
Because, and I said this in a video the other day, if I'm the one that have ancestors that were killed, sold, I'm from Jamaica, so we were 300 years slavery. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my mom's mom was a slave.
Mm.
That's really too close for comfort.
Way too
Way too
close.
close. You know, my people were killed because they were invaded and thought to be nothing more than animals because of the color of their skin. So no, I'm not just talking about this Black Lives Matter because it's popular. Maybe you are just being able to respond because you're just seeing it now, but I
Mm-hmm.
lived it.
Absolutely. Dalton, we're going to get cut off in about a minute and 90
Mm,
seconds. I want to ask you, just so we can leave with this, to everyone
mm.
listening and everyone who's going to watch this later on, what can they do to help us? What can they do to make this better?
Educate yourself. Be open to love. Understand somebody before you respond. It's not about you and it's not about me. It's about all of us. Think about, again, the history of humanity, because when you come in All Lives Matter, it shows me how dumb you are. When you're any kind of ist, that's bad. It shows me how dumb you are, especially if you look like me, because of the history. So educate yourself on as many things as you could. Be open to love. Love somebody. Like, love, man. Like, love. Why is it so hard?
Mm.
Love. Because, like, it feels good. It gives you good skin, you know what I'm saying? It makes you happier in the morning. Love is amazing.
Yes, it is amazing.
Educate yourself.
On that note, absolutely. We got 27